Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for coming back to the Mompreneur Life Podcast. And if you are new here, okay, thank you for stopping by. And make sure you follow this podcast to get your weekly dose of Mompreneur Life tips. And if you are not new here, hey girl, hey, okay, let's actually get into this episode because I really feel like a lot of us go through this, but we're in denial, okay? We don't need to be in denial about shiny object syndrome. We are going to actually get into what is shiny object syndrome. How do you know if you have shiny object syndrome and how to combat shiny object syndrome? As you know, before I get into today's episode, I like to bring you two things. A mom win and a mom struggle. Today's mom win, okay, is I was actually able to mop the whole house without someone walking on my floor. And mind you, everyone was home. If you mop your floor like a regular mop and people are home, you know for some reason that is when they need to go to the kitchen and that is when they need to go to the bathroom. For some reason, it never fails. But it worked out for me. And let's get with that mom struggle because you know your girl over here struggles. Okay, yes, I struggle. My struggle is I just want to be able to finish a full cup of coffee before it gets cold and not have to reheat it. Now I'm looking at my coffee and it is very cold and I'm not even going to try to reheat it or anything like that. Yeah. Let's actually get into shiny object syndrome. Believe it or not, shiny object syndrome is more common than you think, okay? I am here to tell you that I actually suffer from shiny object syndrome and it has actually caused more harm than good in my whole life. I would start something as a mompreneur and next thing I know, I get on Google to find out. I could be scrolling on social media and someone posts like a day in the life and next thing I know, I'm looking up if their job is hiring. Okay, like I found myself Googling how to land a non-tech job at Google because I like their office based off of somebody doing a tour of the Google office because they work there. You see what I'm saying? Why am I looking that up? Why am I Googling that? If I saw a position that I think I qualified for, your girl would have applied. I'm telling you that now, I would have applied. But I couldn't find no job. But whatever. My point is, it actually does more harm than good because what happens is I start something and I don't finish. It's harder than I thought. It's more work than I thought. And it's not bringing me no money. I'm not finding joy out of it. It's just doing more harm than good in my life. Okay, let's get into it. What is shiny object syndrome? Is when you are focused on something and then something else comes along and you start putting your focus there. Let's say, for instance, you're reading a book and out the corner of your eye, you see a flashing light. You automatically stop reading and look to see what that light is. But then your focus now is trying to figure out what that light was, where did it come from, if anyone is around you, and you done forgot about the book you were reading. Think about it like that. How do you know if you have shiny object syndrome? Like, how do you honestly know? You do not finish a task. If you set tasks and you never finish them because you start something else, that is that. Yes, you suffering from shiny object syndrome. You don't reach your goals. If you are setting goals the beginning of the year, the beginning of the quarter, the beginning of the day, and you're not reaching the goals, that means you're not focused on the goals. That means other things is getting your attention. That means you have shiny object syndrome. It is what it is. Okay? I'm not here to be like, a Debbie Downer when it comes to your goals, but if you're not reaching them, you need to actually stay focused on them and stop trying to jump from one thing to another. So that brings me to the next thing. If you never follow through, let's say, for instance, you set the goal, okay, halfway through, and you're on something else, you did not finish the first goal. You did not follow through on that first goal. You need to follow through on things. If you're not following through on any goal you set, you have shiny object syndrome. Okay, you need to stay focused on reaching your goals. Reaching your goals is going to help you get to the next level. Next is you're always looking for a quick fix. If you're always looking for the next quick thing or the next quick fix, you have shiny object syndrome. When it comes to success, it does not happen overnight. I don't care what no one says. You look at famous people, I promise you they've been putting in work before they became successful or they became famous. They have had drawbacks. If you're always looking for a quick fix, a quick way to make money, you need to slow down and stay focused on one. If you start one thing, stick with it and stop jumping from one thing to the other. You have shiny object syndrome. Yes, I myself jumped from one thing to another, but I had to stop. I was like, I'm wasting more time. I'm doing more harm than good by jumping from one big thing to the next big thing, or the one quick fix to the next quick fix. If I'm jumping from one quick fix to the next quick fix, I am not following through on anything. I'm not going to be able to reach my goals. To be honest, shiny object syndrome distracts you from honestly reaching your goals. If you're trying to reach your goals and you notice you're not reaching them, shiny object syndrome really distracts you from reaching those goals you set for yourself. When it comes to shiny object syndrome, it can be possible that it actually is stemming from the fear of missing out. Yes, when we are on social media, we see so many people do things. We want to do what they're doing. We have a fear of missing out. We're not taking the trips. We're not going on these trips. We're not going to these conferences. In fact, we're going to miss out on something. That's when shiny object comes into play. Well, shiny object syndrome comes into play because we are fearful of missing out. Missing out on what? I don't know. But that comes from that at times. I'm not saying all the time, but just sometimes, okay? It's like everyone now has this going for themselves or that going for themselves, and you don't. If you feel like everyone has something going for themselves and you don't, and you're trying to catch up or you don't want to be left out, you need to slow down and just stick with one thing. When it comes to people having multiple streams of income, yes, I am going to talk about people now discussing their multiple streams of income because sometimes it does more harm than good by telling people what streams of income they have because they're not telling them that these streams of income took time and they focused on one before they started another. They perfected one stream of income before they started another stream of income. What's happening is people are trying to have all of these multiple streams of income at one time. They're trying to start it all at one time. They're trying to have the course. They're trying to have the digital product. They're trying to have affiliate marketing. They're trying to have successful YouTube channels, successful Instagram, successful podcasts, all of the things. But they didn't perfect anything. Now, let's go into how to combat shiny object syndrome. We have, let's say for instance, you have it, you done went through this whole list of things that I just mentioned and you're like, yeah, I got shiny object syndrome and I need to slow down. Let's get into it. The first thing you should do is set some strong boundaries. Setting the strong boundaries to actually help you stay focused on the goals. For me, I have a big, I wrote it out big. Do not move on to step 2 without finishing step 1. Currently, my step 1 is to get more podcast management clients. Yes, that is the goal. Of course, I have to promote. I have to create promotional products to post on social media, so forth and so on. And that's pretty much where I've been focused. I have not been really focused on my second Instagram page. I've been mostly focused on one Instagram page, and I repurposed those Instagram posts to TikTok videos, and that is just kind of like how I've been going at it. And I haven't been trying to do too much more as far as, this podcast and the YouTube channel. This podcast is actually helping me with podcast management because it's allowing me to get more time with it and going through the actual process of creating a podcast and managing a podcast. I'm kind of incorporating that as well. And I do video editing. I've always done video editing. That is how I was able to introduce audio editing. See, I perfected one and now I moved on to the next. I'm not jumping from one thing to the other, and that is what we tend to do quite often. And another thing is, know your why at all times. Let's say, for instance, for me, my current why is to have an additional source of income. Let's say $1,000 extra a month from podcast editing. That is my why. But okay, so if I say, hey, I want an extra $1,000, yes, that is cool, okay? But why do I need it? Why do I want it? I like to break down my whys a little bit further. It kind of stays in the back of my mind, okay, I am freelancing because I want to start saving for my next investment property or whatever. But then that kind of goes together. But then I break down a little bit further, why do I want the investment property? I like to break it down to get to the root of everything so that my why is more solid. The next thing is setting real goals. When you are creating these goals and you're setting these boundaries, set some real goals. And I'm not here to yet be a Debbie Downer and knock you off your high horse. But on the same note, if you say something like, yeah, the goal is to have 10 streams of income by the end of the year, and it's November, and you only have one stream of income, and that stream of income is not even solid, you get what I'm saying? Like, perfect what you currently have and set some real goals around that, opposed to setting unrealistic goals and you getting your feelings hurt. It is what it is. Do not make rash decisions, okay? Do not make rash decisions. Think about why you want to start something new, or if it would even make sense. Think about, would it make sense, and sleep on it. Let's say, for instance, your goal is to start creating a digital product. Sleep on it. Sleep on it, okay? Because even though you create a digital product, you still have to promote the digital product. You have to find people that even want to buy the digital product, okay? You have to make sure you sleep on it and really think about it before you devote all this time for no reason. That is one way to actually combat it. It's by taking the time, not making rash decisions, and actually sleeping on the idea. Give yourself about a week or so for that idea. Lastly, you want to find an accountability team or even a partner. Let's say, for instance, you find someone that kind of had the same goals as you, and y'all are not in competition with each other, but y'all both need some type of accountability, because everyone is just kind of like your yes man. You need someone that is firm and will hold you accountable for these rash decisions. Even though you might go to them and be like, yeah, I'm starting something new. You need that person to be like, okay, why are you starting this new thing? Did you perfect the last thing? How did the last thing go for you? Why are you giving up on the last thing? You get what I mean? You need a solid accountability partner, not just a yes man. You need someone to hold you accountable for your actions, your decisions on certain things and things like that, because that would then bring you back to reality. Because when we find a new shiny object, we kind of just all in love with it, and then next thing you know, we forget about what the old goals were and what we were working on before. You need to find an accountability partner or even a team to help you stay focused. Don't get distracted from your goals. You don't want to get distracted from your goals and your why. Break down your why to make it more solid. Why are you doing something? Why did you start something new? And break it down all the way down to the molecules so it could be strong enough to withstand any shiny objects that comes your way. So if you enjoyed this episode, what I want you to do is make sure you head on over to the Instagram page, follow me there, and check out the show notes. As you know, the show notes has all of the freebies and goodies, okay? And I hope you enjoyed this episode and live the life you dream, you mompreneur you. I'll see you next week. Bye.